We're live. All right. Hello. Welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley, joined today by founder of AttractWell, Greg Kilwine. Hey, Greg.
Great. Hey, everyone. Really glad you're here today.
We are excited to have you here today, where we're going to be talking about hosting webinars with AttractWell. So if you are interested in hosting something live or even offering on-demand registration and viewing of pre-recorded webinars, we are going to get into all of that today, including what it takes in AttractWell to set things up and how you can do this 100% with just your AttractWell account. So if you are somebody who is looking for ways to serve more dynamically, to create more opportunities to sell, whatever webinars might look like for you in terms of goals, we're going to discuss ways you can integrate that approach into your AttractWell system by simplifying your approach. That is what we are about here. If you're new here, welcome. We are here every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern US time, except for holidays, which, by the way, next Thursday is Thanksgiving here in the US. So we will not be live next week. However, we will be coming to you with a pre-recorded session. So feel free to make sure you are checking your email because we are not only going to be sending you information on how you can tune into that special broadcast. It'll be a live broadcast on YouTube, but we'll also be sharing some exciting updates for Black Friday. So we are, again, super excited to have you here. Today, we're talking about webinars and how you can host them with AttractWell. So without further ado, Greg and I are going to pop out a video and we'll come back and chat with you later with video on. For now, we are going to get into our slides. Hello, welcome. Go ahead and let us know in the chat where you are. I see Anakani is here in Japan. Good morning to you. Ohayo gozaimasu. Excited to have you here today and look forward to hearing what you've been working on this week. All right, so today we are again talking about how we can host and share our webinars with AttractWell. So today we're going to first talk about webinars in AttractWell. We'll talk about systems and workflows that'll help you to host live webinars, have people register for them, get replays, etc., as well as the ability to offer on demand. So if you already have a recording that someone can get access to, you give them the opportunity to register just like they would for something live, except they're getting access to something you've already recorded. We will also have, as always, live help and Q&A. We do have one live review signed up today, so we'll be making some space for that at the close of our call as well. So if you are watching this from our Facebook group, or if you are watching this as a replay in the future, make sure you head over to attractwell.com/office hours so that you don't miss an opportunity to jump on a live call just like this one, to get support and feedback, meet the community, and of course, be the first to get access to resources and training. If you would like to set aside time to work together on a topic or project of your choice on a call like this one, you can go to attractwell.com/work review to reserve a time in the future. We do meet every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern US time. And if you need a hand, if you would like to have someone get some of this work done for you, we have a team for that. You can go to attractwell.com/concierge to learn more and request a quote. Now tell me, do you use webinars for your business? Is this something that you are currently using? Is it something that you are hoping to begin integrating? What does that look like for you? If you are using them, how do you do it? Is this something that you offer for leads? Is this a way that you serve clients, perhaps in a group program? What does that look like for you? Let us know in the chat. Share what that looks like. All right, we see hope to use soon. Yeah, absolutely. Well, today, I think after you have seen how simple it is, you can get into using webinars pretty quickly because you don't really need anything extra when you've got AttractWell. So first things first, let's get into some clarity here about what webinars actually are. So a webinar is a portmanteau, which is just a smash up of words. And in this case, it is a mashup of web and seminar. So it is an interactive online meeting where a host is teaching. So this is, again, if you've ever been to a seminar, maybe in person, it's just basically that, except we're online. Now, there are specialized softwares that create a specific webinar environment, but you don't have to use special software to host a webinar, right? So just as an example, we right now, if you're joining us live right now, or if you join us on a future live call on a Thursday, we utilize a specialized software for webinars because there could be hundreds of people who could show up on any given week, given the volume of invitations we regularly send out for the webinars that we host. That, to me, with the way that we run things, that necessitates a specialized software, and it justifies the additional expense of a specialized software. Okay. Now, if you are hosting something that is meant to be a bit more communal, a bit more interactive, one where you actually benefit from others seeing who is on the call, things like breakout rooms, right? Things like that, then you actually don't need specialized software. You can simply use the Zoom that is included in your AttractWell account, right? So there are some cases where you might want to purchase, and this is separate from AttractWell, webinar software, right? And those cases, I believe, are fewer and farther between. The majority of us can do very well. And in fact, I think benefit even more from using the Zoom meetings software, which is included in the price of your AttractWell account. Now, in your webinar, you may choose to turn on a camera that's facing you. You could record your screen. You could do a little bit of both, right? So I often use slides, as you can see here, but we also do come out and show our faces. And of course, if you have an agenda and you have the ability to hit record in Zoom, this is doable. It is simple. It's actually way easier than you might think it is. Really the most challenging thing is promotion, of course, and then perhaps, depending on what it is that you're talking about and your degree of confidence in how you're delivering that, it might take you a little bit to create a slide deck that you love. Who knows? But the mechanics of running a webinar, incredibly simple. Open Zoom, hit record, you're doing it. Okay. And this is such a fantastic way for you to deliver value. And that goes to the trust and community that you build for maybe hosting webinars that maybe reach and teach to folks who might become your future clients, as well as a phenomenal way to reach and teach and serve your current clients, right? So that would be in things like group programs and the like. And your webinar can be offered live, such as what we are doing right now, or you can offer something pre-recorded. So in this case, you could take a recording from a webinar that you have run previously, and you can offer registration for that, where people can go and get access to the recording that you've previously made. Now, what's needed for a live webinar? The first thing that we need, of course, are the details of the call, right? So what are you talking about? When are you talking about it, etc. All right. Then we need Zoom to host the live call. And then we need a page for someone to register for this live webinar. We'll need a confirmation page that we can use to confirm, of course, that they have successfully registered for the webinar. And then we'll need to send out an email and or text campaign that confirms their registration, sends the details to them, including the Zoom link, for instance, for them to join, and then reminds the attendees of their upcoming webinar with you. And all of those things are things that you can set up simply in AttractWell. All right, so this is the workflow for getting this done. Note that I will be providing a PDF version of these slides for you to use and reference after we post up the We post up the recording of this call on our YouTube channel. All right. So first things first, we're going to create our Zoom meeting. And I'm going to show you what this looks like after we get through this slide. So the first thing we do is create a Zoom meeting in AttractWell, and we're going to save the join link, meaning the link that people are going to click to open Zoom and join as an attendee. Then we're going to create a campaign in AttractWell that is going to, on day 0, confirm that they are registered and share the call's details, right? So the webinar details. We'll also, this is optional, but I like to do this, have an email that goes out the day before that reminds them of tomorrow's call, and then one that goes out an hour before that has a link for them to join, right? A call to action. We're about to go live. Head over here now to get started. Then we're going to create our confirmation page that, again, just repeats those details of the webinar. You would create a page to tie it all together that is where we offer registration, where we send our campaign, and we redirect to our confirmation page, as well as tagging the contact appropriately so that you're able to find them in your contact manager and send them any correspondence after the webinar, such as a link to a replay, etc. All right, so this is our first step. Create the video meeting, create the Zoom meeting. So you're going to go to your Zoom meetings in AttractWell, and you're going to click Schedule Meeting. Right, and here I have named my webinar, My Awesome Webinar. It's a one-time event. I've given it a date and a time. We're going to be meeting on November 27th at noon Eastern US time for an hour. Now, because this is a Zoom meeting, I want to make sure that I have this set up in the most advantageous way for me to be the host and for this to be as webinar focused of a presentation as possible, meaning I'm the one facilitating. I want people to be able to see me clearly and hear me, right? Because I'm the one hosting. So what I'm going to do here is automatically start video for just the host. And then I'm going to choose to mute participants on entry. All right. And you'll notice here down at the bottom that we do have additional options. I'm not checking any of those. I don't want anyone to be able to join the meeting before me. You can choose to auto record on your computer, but we are going to be following a different step for ease of processing the replay and moving it into your video manager in AttractWell. So I'm going to choose to not use that setting. I'm not going to use a waiting room because if people do show up late, I don't want to have to be distracted to allow them in, right? So this is the setting. Now, once we've created this, you'll then be sent to this page where you see all of the information for your meeting that you have scheduled, okay? And what you see here is up at the top, we have copy link. And under copy link, you also have down here where you see the date, there is an ICS file as well. And that ICS file is actually a file that you can download and offer to someone so that they can add this to their calendar if you choose. This is optional, but a cool thing that you do have the ability to do from the events, the video meeting dashboard here in AttractWell. Now, our next step is to create our campaign. This is going to send messages on our behalf automatically. So I'm going to create the campaign. I'm going to name it My Awesome Webinar. So it's the same name as the webinar is the name of the campaign, including the name of the campaign that is shown to the contacts. I'm going to prefer sending via email. And then I'm going to start creating the messages for the campaign. The first message is our day 0 message, and that means it's going to send immediately after registration. And this is simply going to have a subject line that says that their seat is saved, they've successfully registered, and it's going to include the name of the webinar to keep things congruent. In the body of the message, we're going to share whatever information we'd like to share about this webinar. And then, of course, we're going to add the Zoom link and date and time, etc. Right? So put all of that here. This is something that they could save, search their inbox for, reference later. It does not hurt to share that Zoom link, even though they may be registering a week in advance. It can be helpful for them to have multiple places that they might be able to find this email prior to the call. So don't worry too much about sending the Zoom link so far in advance. It's better to cover your bases more often than not enough. All right, so once we have created our day zero message, I'm going to go ahead and create a couple of additional messages. I am choosing here again to send out a reminder the afternoon prior. This is going to be a midday webinar, so I do want to remind them the day before in the afternoon, hey, we've got a webinar tomorrow. And then an hour before we go live, I want to say, hey, we're about to go live. Here is the link to join. So the way that I do that is I create 2 more messages with, again, the appropriate information. Our webinar's tomorrow, we're about to be live. And then the body of those messages, of course, are going to reflect the subject line. And then I have applied a date to this campaign. Now, if you recall, this is going to take place at noon Eastern time on the 27th. So I have, because I'm going to be sending a reminder the day before, I am selecting 2 days prior to the actual webinar date as the start date for the campaign. Now, when someone registers, they're going to receive the day zero message right away, no matter when they sign up. Okay, but they won't receive the additional messages until it's time to. So if they don't sign up until 6 p.m. Eastern time on the 26th, they're only going to receive that second message because it's scheduled to go out the next day. And that would be after they will have registered. Okay, so you want to set these up so that you are delivering on the correct date and the correct time. And this, of course, is for your one-off, I'm doing this once, this is the live event, right? So you want to set your campaign up thusly, and then we move on to creating our pages. The first one, incredibly simple. This is a confirmation page. I've gone into website pages and clicked add. And then when you go to add a page, there are a number of different templates that you can choose from. I chose blank and then added a section that is a single column with a header. So it's pre-formatted, and all I need to do here is add some text, add some copy. I've chosen to add the ICS file here so that they can add this to their calendar. Totally optional, but something you could certainly do. Now in the settings for this page, make sure that you name it appropriately. So this is the My Awesome Webinar confirmation page. So I've just made that the title across the entire set of settings here. So it is the name of the page so that I can search the name My Awesome Webinar in my AttractWell system and find it easily. But then when someone is on the page, they'll be able to see this in the title bar and in the link path as well. This is available by link only. You'll see down in the far left corner here. We don't want this page to be visible, searchable to anyone other than someone who is supposed to see it. So it is by link only. Now, once it is published, then you see that it's going to show up here with the header of the website on top, the footer on the bottom, and of course, this little section that we've created right here. You can, of course, do a lot more than this with a confirmation page, but this is the bare bones minimum of what you want to make sure that you do. We want to just be congruent with what they just did. And the step that they just took, what they just did was they signed up for your webinar. So repeat the name of the webinar, repeat the details, and of course, tell them that they need to add your email address to their address book because you are sending some things their way. Okay. Final step is to create the page that offers the webinar where people can register for the webinar. So in this case, I added a page in our website pages and I used the Jenna homepage template. Now I've only edited the top part of it here. There is more to this template that you could use. Now I want to call your attention to a couple of things. First, the button here where it says save my seat, the link in that button where that goes has hashtag lead, right? The URL for that button is hashtag lead. And that means it's going to pop up a form that someone can fill out. Let's talk a little bit about how we set that up. First, going into the page settings, and we're down here in the bottom left of the slide here. In our page settings, we're going to name the page. So this is My Awesome Webinar, right? It's the name of the webinar. It's an appropriate name. This is going to be available everywhere. You could choose for this to be by link only if you only want certain people who are maybe invited or shown the link to be able to register for this webinar. That's up to you. I've chosen to show the header and the menu and the footer. You can, of course, choose to remove those if you wish. All right, now getting into the Leads tab, now we're in the top right of the slide here. Getting into the Leads tab, we are going to first modify the message that's shown on the lead capture form. So when we get a pop-up, we're going to see this image on the left and text on the right. You want to, of course, modify that design as needed. And then further down under the leads section here in the page settings, we want to modify where people go and what happens after a lead registers on this page. So we want to attach that My Awesome Webinar campaign we created, send them to the My Awesome Webinar confirmation page after they have registered, and we want to tag them with the webinar and the date in this case, so that we can easily find those contacts and send them the replay if that is something that you wish to do. Now, they will see this when they land on the page. When they click Save My Seat, they will then see this where they can put in their name, email, and phone. Once they do, they'll be sent to that confirmation page that says, hey, your seat is saved. Add my email address to your address book. Go check your email. And they will, of course, receive that first email from you, as well as those additional ones reminding them of that upcoming call they registered for. Now, when it's time for your webinar, when it's time to go live, I want you to go to your Zoom meetings in AttractWell and look for My Awesome Webinar or whatever the name of your call is, and we're going to click Start Meeting. Now, once you are in the meeting, if you would like to record it to use in the future to share a replay or offer an on-demand funnel for your webinar, you're going to hit record here and we're going to choose record to the cloud. Now, once we have recorded to the cloud, we are going to follow a couple of super easy steps to move that recording right over to our AttractWell videos for easy and quick sharing. Now, after your webinar, we're going to go back to our video meetings where we started our webinar, and we're going to look for the My Recordings button. Once you click that, you are going to see a page that shows your video meeting recordings. They do stay in your account for 10 days. And so you'll see whatever calls you have recorded to the cloud right here. Now, you want to find the active speaker type, and then you're going to see a link here where it says copy into my video library. When that happens, it's going to tell you that it's processing, and it'll actually show you a link to where you can go and visit your videos. And once your video is processed, it will show up right here with the name of that Zoom call that you created as the title for the video content here. All right, so now your video is in AttractWell. You can go and embed this video onto a page. Maybe that page is inside of a vault. Maybe you have a dedicated page where you'll put this on your site, or maybe you just want to simply share the video. All of these are fine options. If we want to send that replay out, we are going to go to our dashboard and we're going to search for our registrants. So we want to send an email. So we'll click that. We want to send just one message. Then we want to filter for our registrants. So there's our tag that we had on our registration page. We're going to click Write Email, and then we're going to look for the video icon. This is a really cool thing that you can do in AttractWell. You can't send playable videos via email in the majority of cases, regardless of who you're sending it to, but you can send something that's very engaging and likely to be clicked on. And in AttractWell, if you follow these steps, it will actually import or create a GIF file, an animated video, quick, sort of video image file that someone will be able to click and then go and see the video. So here's how we do that. We click the video icon, and that is going to take us to our options here to upload or add a video. So we're going to select My Awesome Webinar. It'll ask us how we would like to share it. It could just go straight to the video on your site, or it could go to a page where you have this video embedded. So you do have a choice here of where you want to send them. All right, so then we're going to add the video to your email. And then this interactive image is going to appear where they can actually see it. But then in order, of course, to watch it, they have to click it. And when they do, they go to whichever one of these options that you've selected for where you send them to watch the video. All right, so that's it. That's all in AttractWell. You can host live webinars with us. What if you want to offer something on demand? How many of you all have maybe signed up for an on-demand webinar before? Maybe it was an on-demand webinar that was masquerading itself as something that was actually live. I find those to be a little silly, and I don't know about you. I don't like to assume ignorance of the people that I want to reach and teach. And I feel like those things that are clearly not actually live, that pretend like they are, I just think that they're kind of silly and unnecessary. That's me personally. I find that a lot of people who I share that perspective with tend to agree. So here's the way I recommend doing this. And the good news is that it's very simple. You don't have to lie or pretend, and you can make this great and work for you simply in your AttractWell system. And it's actually a little simpler to set up than offering a live call. So what you need here first are a video recording of your webinar replay. You need a page to register for that pre-recorded webinar. We need a confirmation page that shares details. And then we need a campaign that, that sends them access to the video that they can watch. And everything that you need, once again, is in AttractWell. And this evergreen way of setting up your webinar registration is even easier than a live one. So the workflow is as follows, and I'm happy to go in and actually demonstrate some of this to you guys after we get out of these slides, but it's pretty straightforward. First things first, if you haven't done so already, you're going to want to add the video of your webinar to AttractWell. This may be something that you have maybe recorded previously on your own or in an actual live setting. Then we're going to create a campaign that will automatically on day 0, that's right away, confirm their registration, share the link to watch the video, or send them to a page where that video might be embedded. And then, of course, it's going to follow up as needed with any additional messages. The way that I see this used most often is as a tool that really is something that kicks off a sales sequence. So if you are selling something, you might offer for someone to attend a workshop. And in that workshop, you teach, but then you also pitch, you sell. And so you want to have those additional emails that go out after they have been exposed to the video. You want those messages to maybe heat up a bit more with the sales language because they've now been exposed to that opportunity to buy. And you can, obviously carry on with a sales campaign from there. Now, we do from there need to create a confirmation page that shares your webinar details. It would be simpler, yes, to just send them to a page where they can watch the video after they've registered, but you want to make sure that you're actually getting good contact information from the people who sign up. So that means that there's only one barrier they need to cross after they've put their name and email in. They just need to go to their email and they'll be able to find the link. And once they click it, they'll be able to see what they came for. And then the final piece, of course, is the page where they register for the webinar. This is going to send that campaign that we've created. It will redirect to the confirmation page. It will tag the contact with whatever you would like for them to be tagged with so that you can easily go and connect with them. Now, I do have additional training that I do recommend here. And I think, Sonia, this might speak to the question that you've just put here. If you are looking to host recurring live webinars, we actually have a call and a checklist that teaches that. If you go to the AttractWell Success Academy and you type in recurring calls, you'll actually be sent a link to this, and you'll find that there is a checklist in the description for this video on our YouTube channel. So definitely recommend that you check that out. And this, of course, is something that's going to work for you, whether your live calls are offered inside of a group coaching setting, maybe in a vault, maybe outside of a vault, or even something that you may offer on an ongoing basis for your leads, which is something that we do. So our office hours is an example of a recurring live call. We, of course, are using webinar software. I think in the majority of cases, it's overkill. It's not something that's necessary for most businesses. Using Zoom meetings is great. The steps are more or less the same. We've got a join link that we send you guys, right? There's a simple funnel where you register to be able to attend these calls. It tags you. And instead of sending out a date-based campaign, we're just simply scheduling broadcasts on a weekly basis, right? And I do talk about that in detail in this particular training, so definitely check that out. All right, so let's get into live help and Q&A. We can definitely get into some demonstrations of how to do some of this stuff in the system. But yeah, let me see. I think we've got a couple of questions that came in here as well in the Q&A. Okay, is this the same as a digital creating a digital course? So I mean, so there's a way to look at it this way, right? So your digital course is probably going to have video. The best courses, I think we could all probably agree, include some amount of video content. How you capture that video content is up to you. I really like the idea of kind of taking the two birds, one stone philosophy here, and you know, and maybe utilizing a live call that you do and capture that recording and then pop that into a course. You could certainly do something like that. If you are using Zoom meetings to have a private session for yourself to record your content via video, that is a way that you can record content for your courses as well. So in that sense, if you're recording the video content for your course, you would be creating the Zoom meeting, joining your Zoom meeting, but just with yourself, right? Hitting record and then following the rest of those steps. So in that way, yes, that is the same process. You're just not going to maybe necessarily have people on the call with you. You're just going to be using your Zoom call to record your content. Okay, Sonia says, I've seen webinars where the host is on a small round screen within the PowerPoint or larger screen. Is that something that can be done in a live webinar? Also, do we have to integrate our own Zoom login prior to using it, or is an AttractWell Zoom login? So there is, I'm not 100%, and I can't even remember who used it. There is some kind of special software that you can use that is separate from us, that does cool stuff. Like, you know, my video where you see me talking right now, I could actually, instead of doing a share screen, I could be doing some kind of, you know, animated situation here inside of Zoom. I can't speak to what those are. I don't personally use them. I've seen people use them. They're kind of cool. You can also choose to keep your video on while you're sharing your screen, which will show you and the content at the same time. And you don't need any special plugin for that. You do not need to have a Zoom account to use Zoom with AttractWell. Okay, so all you have to do is set up your meetings in Zoom and AttractWell and start and end them, and you're good to go. So there's no separate login. There's nothing. You don't need to have a Zoom account, period, with AttractWell. Unless, you know, you are someone in one of those rarer cases where it would be most advantageous for your business to have a true webinar software for calls like this. And again, it's just not necessary for most businesses. And it's a significant expense to add on webinars, to actually get webinars, that software licensing from Zoom. So if you benefit from having more social proof, from having a group together, and that's something that works well for your business and how you serve, it's actually better, I think, to even use the Zoom meetings versus the webinar software. Do you think this can be done for an online summit? Speakers will be provided pre-recorded presentations. I would host a live call during the summit at a specific time, but they would be able to go through the presentations like lessons. Yeah, Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I mean, these are meetings. So long as you make sure that your Zoom attendee number, like just take note of how many are able to join Zoom calls on your AttractWell plan level. That can be increased and decreased as needed. Just reach out to our team. But yeah, absolutely. They're 100%. I think, Greg, you can do things like breakout rooms in the Zoom meetings in AttractWell, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and you want to have Zoom meetings for that anyway. So for that kind of feature, if you want to do, you could do breakout rooms even with the presenters, if you wanted. A lot of cool ways that you can do that. So yeah, we've had a couple of folks do sort of similar things here, but the simplest path, what you've just described here, is if they've got content that they pre-record and that's able to be accessed inside of like a Vault online class format, and maybe you've got a couple of times that you're going to go live that everyone can join, then yeah, 100%. You're basically going to be setting it up like you would set up a group coaching program. You're just calling it something different and setting the schedule a little differently. That's it really is kind of the same thing. Oh, I'm so excited for you. Good. Let me see. Yeah, there are definitely a lot of options out there in the software world for all kinds of cool stuff. We're very pro software people, but we are very simplify your life philosophy people. And you know, if you are the type that is comfortable with managing lots of different types of software, then you know, more power to you. We do have Zapier with AttractWell. And so if you want to, you know, make something a bit more complicated come together, you can still get all of the best of what we have here. And, you know, depending on what it is, of course, that you are wanting to use in conjunction, there's a really solid chance that there's a way to make it all connect together. So, all right, Kelly says, I want to alternate recorded and self-study and live in my course. Are those separate setups? I mean, not necessarily. It depends on how you want to deliver it. So if it's all like if everyone is going to basically have that same experience at once, then you know what you're doing is you are, you know, creating an online class that's going to maybe drip release content maybe after a certain number of days or on certain calendar dates. You'll have a schedule for your live calls. You know, there's a lot of different ways that you can run that. So I highly recommend, just kind of with what we've been talking about here in the last couple of minutes, talking about delivering experiences in member areas with things like courses and programs of varying types of delivery. We have a course that if you haven't taken advantage of this yet, highly recommend that you do. If you go over here to Success Academy and you look at our online resources and courses, this one right here, how to build your online course. It's not just about courses. It's about memberships, it's group programs. Really, if it's something that you want to sell that's going to require a private login and allow them into a member area on your website, you're going to learn how to do it there. And the sky's really the limit in terms of the experience that you want to create. Does a Zoom and AttractWell allow Facebook cross broadcasting? Yes, you can go live in Facebook groups. You can broadcast to YouTube. I think that workplaces, I don't know all of the different ones, but basically that sort of broadcast out from a Zoom meeting, you can do that with the included Zoom in AttractWell. That is correct. Okay, I want to make sure I've got. Oh, we have 2 signed up today. Awesome. All right, let me go ahead and let me see. I have Sonia and Emily. So Sonia, let me grab you first and bring you out. How can we help you today?
Hi, so on my
Hey.
website, hi. And by the way, I'm excited. I can't wait to see all the the features y'all have with making it so super simple to include Zoom in there and do all this cool stuff. But as far as my website, I have Discover You, which I offer college and career coaching for families. And this is high school, usually high school students and parents. However, I actually started coaching also college students that have reached out to me, which is exciting. So it's college coaching or even life coaching with college students. So my question is, what do you recommend I do on my Discover You page to differentiate? Because obviously this one, the one I have, is more for parents, buying it for the student. At the college, it's going to be more of the student reaching out to me. So what suggestions do you have as far as how to deviate family sessions for high schoolers and college students?
Got you. Okay. So, all right. So what I would consider doing here on this page is maybe in this section right here, we might modify this sentence and say, because this I think still applies to everyone you would be speaking to. So we could say, welcome to Discover You, your partner in success, right? You could make that a little bit more general. And then what you could do is you could have parents, future college students, and current students. You could have buttons there, or you could have additional sections here where you maybe break that down a little bit further, right? So essentially what you would be doing is providing a pathway. So if somebody goes to Discover You, then they can see that, door number 1 is, and you would want to make sure that maybe this gets clarified a little bit more, like for parents, right? Saying Discover You for parents or something like that, Discover You for current students, Discover You for prospective students, etc. So yeah, you would just be adding to this page.
So if I do that, I would then have to clear out the information below, right? So I would only leave the top part and then have them either go to the parent section, which is that one, or go to the college one.
Yeah, let's think about this again. Okay, how about this? Step 1, copy of this page, right? So duplicate this page.
Okay.
This one, the original, we do have your partner in your teen's success. So just making sure that what's on this page is really about the parent, which I think you've already got that in the copy here. But on the copy of this page, modify what you've got here to speak to the current student, and then do something similar to what you've done here. You're telling a story, you're breaking down everything that you get in the session and the way that you work with a student. And then what you would do is maybe Discover You isn't a link here anymore in your menu. It might be Work with Sonia or something like that, or it could be Discover You, but it would be a menu where they could say, for parents, for students.
Like that better.
Yeah, and then you would go to this page for parents, you would go to the duplicate of this page for students.
Perfect. So add this, where would I break out Discover You and put the 2 tabs?
Yeah, so I'm going to duplicate this. I'll just go ahead and do that. So Discover You students. And then Discover You, we'll go ahead and name this one as well, parents. All right. So then what you would do, and I'm not going to keep this change, but this is what you would want to do. So in your site menu, we would, and I'm going to keep this, right? So I'm going to go ahead and add a new one. The menu header is going to be called Discover You. And then it's not going to link anywhere because it's a menu. And then we're going to add items to the menu. And there's going to be for parents. And the page will be Discover You Parents. And then we'll add another item, and that will be for students. And then we'll put that one there. And so then if we view this, this is the new one, then it would look like this instead. And so you would have this instead of this one. You would delete this one and of course move that one over.
I love that. Okay, super, super. And do we have time for another question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. On my page, I want to add, well, I want to add two things. On the podcast, I want to add, well, I don't know if you recommend this, but I've been hosted as a guest myself to other podcasts. I even had an interview. Is that something that I should add on the podcast page, like as heard or seen on? And then,
Ooh.
I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So this is the homepage of your site. And oops, did I fix that? Let me not keep that weird menu on your website. I thought I changed that. Okay, we'll fix that. And then, yeah, we want to delete this.
Okay.
So we have to delete the individual ones first. Okay, that's why. Can't have that weird thing there. Okay, perfect. So so on your site, you've got your homepage, right? This is where we're you would want to make sure that you are, because this is sending them to that discovery page for parents. You will want to make sure that in the places on your site that you are mentioning, like or giving the call to action to work with you, that you say something like let's work together, and then have a button for parents for parents for students, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you will want to make those modifications. So on your podcast page, because I know you have a page where you talk about the podcast, this is where you can have, maybe right here as seen on, and then you could have the logos. You could put that on your homepage as well, because it's not just about, your podcast wasn't necessarily featured when you were interviewed. You, Sonia, were featured. So there's definitely something to be said for having a PR section. So what you would do in that case is and we'll just use maybe like you've got like a home page. Yeah, so you could create a section that would be something like, all right, so I'll put it right here. This would be just a single section, maybe with a header, with a single column. And so then you could say something like as seen on.
Okay.
And then here, I'm going to delete these guys. And then, here is where you would, and you've got a couple of options. You could use a table, but what I would do is just place some images next to each other. So I'll just use this one, and the display is inline. And so I'll add another one. And, this is where you can kind of have those, if you place them in line, they'll be next to each other, and just make sure that they all have, roughly the same resolution. And then they'll display nicely and work well on mobile. Yeah, just make sure that you're displaying them in line to each other, and then those would show up.
And if I keep adding some more, just create another, because I think there's like maybe 5.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously they're going to, like, you'll want to play around with it, right? Because like however you have this set up here, you might not love the way that it looks on mobile. It may be that you want to shrink the sizes so that they show up better next to each other. But there is a case for, if you're designing for a mobile section, maybe creating a table, which in this case would be this one here, where you would do like a 1x5.
Yeah, that might
and
be
then
better.
Yeah, so that's definitely something you could do here as well.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming out. Oh, Sonia, check the chat here. You have someone that you need to be connecting to. All right. I also have, and thank you so much for your patience. I have Emily. How can we help you today?
Hi, so glad to be here. Thank you guys. I'm learning so much.
Glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you. I've got a paid support group that I am wanting to have like a kind of a simple like in my mind, it's kind of a simple website where people can just go and pay, and then once they've paid, they'd have access to their to the member area. So basically the whole thing is a member area. So and it's really just one, right? It's just one vault. So I created the vault and I created the Zoom. So the support group would be like is like it's all access. So no pre-registration would be required. So basically once they've paid and have access to like a, their own portal or the member area, then they'd be able to click on anything, any of the Zoom meetings at that time, right? So I'm having a hard time figuring out how to get the Zoom meetings to display in my vault.
Okay.
So that's my
okay.
Long-winded. Sorry.
When you say you want the Zoom meetings to display in your vault, are these registrations for particular, like to join a recurring call, or is this to?
So
okay.
it's like a reoccurring call at like the same times every day, mostly.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, so there's one resource that I want to make sure that you are aware of. And in the Success Academy, under live training, I want to say vault page is what we're looking for. 3 must-have pages for online courses, programs, and memberships. So I don't know if you've seen this or not. Definitely recommend you check it out. This resource bundle right here includes a schedule Zoom calls and replays page that you can like borrow and take right into your account. So do you host different types of calls, or is it really just one call and they can hop onto it whenever it's happening?
So it's different types of calls, but it could be one link. I would just need to be able to like update the link regularly because it's like private, and I've got to make sure that it's secure and like change it often enough.
Got you. Yeah.
So my idea was to have some sort of calendar that organizes all the times of the calls, but really all the links could be the same thing.
Okay. And I actually see an image of this that you have created and added to a page here. So, okay. So these are the 3 different types of calls and the times that you host them?
That's right.
Beautiful. Okay. So, what I would do is maybe have a section for each one. So maybe this first one is morning check-ins, right? So here we can call this one morning check-in. And this is just one way you could do it. It's not the only correct way. So this is our morning check-in. Maybe you have an image for it. You can tell them a little bit about what kind of stuff you'll talk about on that call. Put the schedule. So this would be Monday through, what was that?
Saturday.
Yeah, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern. So we'll say Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Talk about the call here and then put the link to join a live call in progress, right? So this would be, you put the Zoom link there, join a live call in progress. And then you can repeat this. right? So that way they can actually see, like maybe you do have a nice big image like this that shows like, here's what our group schedule looks like. And then you could say, click one of the links below to join, or you could keep
Oh, okay.
the link the same. I mean, if you're going to be changing the link out regularly, it makes sense to just have one link that you're changing out regularly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So for any of these, I mean, and in that case, you could have these kind of breakdowns that just kind of explain, right? And you just duplicate this one for that kind of call and the other one, right? To cover all your bases for all three. But like right here, you could say join a live call in progress and just have that button there, right? So
Oh,
'cause
yeah. So then I
if
could
it's
just
always
have
the same
one.
link anyway.
Right. That makes it much simpler. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
for
then
sure.
so once they've paid for a membership, then do I have to set up automations in order for them to have like a login page and everything, or does that automatically happen?
It happens automatically. So if somebody
Okay.
purchases, the system will send them an email that'll take them to a page that's going to, in most cases, it's going to bring their email address over, right? Or it'll indicate, you know, this is what you need to do, and then they can create their login. You do have the option as well to create more of an app focused experience. If you want them to be using the AttractWell app to log in, you could do that as well. And we do have, if you just search the word app in our YouTube content, we do have some additional trainings and templates on creating an app focused experience if you wanted to do that.
Okay, great. And then once they have paid and they go to the site, is there, I had created some buttons for like client login. Is that how they would do it? And then I just have to make the button work as a client login on the main page?
Oh, right. So like on your website, you wanted to have like for the menu of your website, or here, let's
Right.
just go.
Yeah. If you go to the main page, that's just what, so like up in the top right corner, I don't think it leads to anything, or it does. It leads to the vault, but I didn't know what to do after that.
Yeah, so because you're logged in as the administrator, it's going to bypass the login screen, but anyone else, this is actually going to take them to the login screen, and you can actually modify how that shows up. That's going to be in your member area setup.
Okay.
If we go there and we look at the personalization options, so this is going to be like, you'll have a cover photo there, or sorry, the login message rather. So you're saying login here, you could put an image here, you could put a logo here, you could put additional information. But basically when you're not signed into your account, it's going to take them to a page that has whatever you put here, and then the fields to put in their name and email to log in.
Oh, okay. So I don't necessarily, I just put that as like a placeholder just so that I would know where, if I put something in there, but I wouldn't have to put anything in there. It would just automatically come up with a way for them to log in and put their password.
Yeah,
okay,
that's right.
Great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. That was super helpful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Glad we could help. Okay. Do we have any other questions before we get going? Excited to see what you guys are working on. Such great things. Let me see if I've missed anything in the questions. I don't think I have. Awesome. We are really excited to see what you guys do with this. Anna Connie, tell me more about your summit if you're still here. Do you want to chat a little bit about that and what you want to try to do? Let me know. You stayed up this late, got up this early. Hi.
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, so I attended someone else's summit and I really liked the way they did their platform. And so she referred me to the company that helps kind of more or less set up and market the summit to be successful, but using the platform that you're already hosting your website with. But it just kind of felt like I wasn't sure if, I have the Get Oiling side of AttractWell, would work. But now that you kind of helped me put together the book club, and then I started the adrenal challenge, I was like, maybe this could work. And so I've been to a bunch of them, just doing my own marketing research, seeing what I like about different summits and how they're hosted. And I've seen some people do kind of, I think, what you are explaining here, where they literally did like a 5-hour broadcasting of a live, like she called it a summit, an Empower Me summit. But they just sat there for 5 hours. Like it was just speaker after speaker after speaker, and she would be the focus point, and then she would have the speakers, and then she would bring out, like you do here with the Q&A, people out. And I was like, that's a lot. And I don't want, for me, I was like, personally, I was catching things on the replay and breaking it up. And so I prefer that. So my thought is that I would find my speakers, I would set up like the marketing funnel page through, just like a landing page and stuff, and just create a vault for all of these people. And I did think about that. I had to actually look back to see what my plans limit for the Zoom, because that would be kind of the limit of how many people I could essentially sell. And so the idea is to do the summit for free, but then to have a VIP, and that's where I don't really know how that would work. So the idea is to give the content out, to give meaningful content by having people attend the summit for free, and really make the money on the back end by having your sales page and stuff ready to go as marketing throughout the summit for your key, whatever you're selling, whether it's a coaching package or whatever your lead high ticket magnet is, as well as to sell a VIP option so that they have lifetime access to the entire content of the Zoom, all the replays, and then added bonuses that you would ask the speakers to basically give on top of maybe you giving out some, freebies throughout the stuff and whatever. And so that's the only part that I haven't been able to figure out. I figured out what you recommended, which is just creating the vault, using the speakers pre-recorded presentations as a course so that they could easily go through the content section on the bottom. I could add their contact information, where they can go to learn more about them and so forth. I just don't know how to go about with the people who do just the free, like how do I kick them out essentially, or do I just duplicate it and then give people like a like that's where I'm not sure how that could work.
Got you. Yeah. So if the plan is to provide limited access to a set of videos that somebody could watch at their own pace during the period of the summit, they could click into a Zoom and join. If all of that is equal both ways, I see you having basically two different options. The first one that's probably, well, they're equally, that's equal level of complication, and neither of them are particularly complicated. Set the structure up inside of a vault. That vault structure is going to have your online class. That's going to have, all of those videos in it, right? You'll have like a live calls page, right? That'll have the schedule for the live sessions of the summit, the link to join, right? That's just going to be a recurring Zoom link. And and that's, that's essentially like for someone who's doing it for free, that's what they get. Make that vault, copy that vault. So you're going to create a resource bundle with that vault in it, make a copy of it, put all the bonus content in that one, right? And so then basically what you do is you run the, you sell the thing, and the Zoom link's the same in both of the vaults. So when people are getting on live, they're all on live together. It doesn't really make as big of a difference. Maybe you do have a separate schedule that maybe there's some bonus times or something for the VIP people that only shows up in the VIP vault. And then, after the summit is over, people who bought the VIP, they stay in the VIP vault. and then you just disable or delete or whatever the other one.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that now you don't have to worry about moving people around or having to have hidden content and stuff like that. The other option would be to put everybody into one vault. Make sure that you are tagging people appropriately when they purchase, so that if they are VIP, then they have a VIP tag, and then there's like a non-VIP tag, so that after X number of days, whatever the calendar date is, you can actually go and find the non-VIP people and remove them from the vault. And then maybe in that case, you would make the bonuses available after that point, right? Where the only people left in the vault are the people who paid for VIP. But in the first instance where you're using two vaults, you are able to deliver all the bonuses and everything right away. And you don't necessarily have to worry about anything other than just getting rid of the free version after the summit's over.
Yeah, I think I like that option better, because then I can really promote having a really intimate discussion room in the VIP, and then everybody else can just be like in a group Facebook until the summit's over, and then close out the group Facebook. And then that way they're like, dang, I should have purchased it. Because the idea is that you sell the VIP ticket at a low price, and then you scale it up as you continue to start leaking some stuff out, maybe going live, hyping it up. And then once the day one happens, it starts to go high increasingly, because now people are seeing the value and they're like, oh man, this is all awesome. And I want to watch everybody, but I can't, that kind of stuff. So, oh, I'm so excited. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing, and keep us posted.
Yes, I will.
Awesome. Ashley, I see your hand up. Let me know in the chat if you have a question or if you want to come out. Be happy to take that question before we get going, if that's the case. But just let me know before I unmute you. I don't know if you wanted to talk or not. So just let me know if that's the case. Yes, you have a question. Okay, perfect. Hi. How can we help?
Hi. So honestly, just piggybacking off of what you were just saying, and this is probably a crazy question, but I was kind of considering the same thing as far as like a VIP coaching course, but I wanted to have the members. So I wanted to have like a self-paced option, and then a group that pays a little more to do like weekly live sessions and such. But I still wanted the people who do self-paced to be able to communicate with everyone, if that makes sense. I don't know. So I know you were saying like if you basically copied the vaults, they can attend like the same Zoom sessions, but there wouldn't be any way for them to all chat together without being in the same vault, right?
Yeah, you would want to, so there's a different way that you could do this. And this is actually something I helped someone do recently. If you are prioritizing live attendance and not replays, that's not to say you can't share replays. They just wouldn't be as easily discovered in the vault. So so essentially you would use the same vault for everybody. But you would have maybe an automation that runs for the people who buy the VIP option, or you apply a campaign or whatever that looks like. You obviously do want to tag them differently, where they're going to get all of the reminders delivered via email for your calls. So so everybody would have the same vault experience, but the additional experience would be that the VIPs are getting emails from you with links to join those Zoom calls. And then even using like the flow that I shared earlier, where you just are sharing a link directly to a video replay instead of like putting it onto a page. You could still send out replays that way. And then you're only sending those invitations with the Zoom link and the replays out to the VIP people. And so then the self-paced information still lives in the vault. It's there. You're good to go. The conversation between everybody is all in the same place. It's just there's a sort of a bonus experience that the VIP people are getting in their inbox and on the Zoom calls.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for your question. Okay. Great chat today, you guys. I'm so excited for what you're working on. Remember, we will not be live next week. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you have a phenomenal holiday. We're super grateful for you and to have you as part of our community. We'll be back live the following week. Keep an eye on your inbox on Monday. We have some exciting stuff to share with you. There will be training next Thursday. It will just be pre-recorded. So we, again, are so thrilled to have you here with us, and we look forward to being with you again. Head over into our Facebook group, get to know your community here, and let us know what you want to learn next. Till next time, we will see you guys on the other side. Have a great week, everybody. Take care.